Hello and welcome to your favorite nautical authoritative, the only program on television that focuses on the Nigerian maritime industry. The program that tells you more about the world of shipping and how shipping impacts on our lives as individuals and as a collective. It's NIMASA This Week, the voice of maritime. As always, NIMASA This Week is brought to you by the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency, the nation's apex regulator and promoter of all things related to our oceans and our waters. My name is Ubong Essien. As always, I will be your guide on this voyage.
My name is Godwin Obaseki, the chairman, Stars Investment Company Limited. You are watching NIMASA This Week. It is the voice of maritime. Stay tuned.
NIMASA This Week, the voice of maritime, showing on these stations.
Welcome back. It's still NIMASA This Week, the voice of maritime. And on today's episode, we take you to Edo State, where the DG of NIMASA, Dr. Bashir Jamoh, paid a courtesy visit to Governor Godwin Obaseki of Edo State to discuss the blue economy and how Edo State can key into what NIMASA is leading as a critical, urgent national endeavor, the blue economy. You'll get to find out more about this visit on the DG's diary. Also on today's episode is my Nautical Chat with the Governor of Edo State, where the Governor took out time to explain how his state is working towards moving away from over-reliance on the extractive economy. And of course, when we talk about the extractive economy, we're simply referring to the oil and gas sector. Thereafter, we bring you the concluding portion of our Know Your Convention discussion on ballast water. So if you're ready, as we say always here at NIMASA, it's anchors away.
In its quest to launch Nigeria's blue economy and enlist the littoral states as parties and drivers, the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency team, led by the Director General, Dr. Bashir Jamoh, paid a courtesy visit to the Edo State Governor, Godwin Obaseki, at the Government House in Benin City. The NIMASA DG, while acknowledging the leadership qualities of Governor Obaseki, commended the Benin River Port project initiated by the state. He noted that the project is the testament that Edo State understands the benefits of shipping and therefore expressed the agency's readiness to ensure the state explores the opportunities of the blue economy.
The Benin River project is a very key in point that testify the Edo State government, their hopes and doing, and they have a basic understanding of the revenue that accrues within the maritime industry by trying to develop the Benin River project. So it will going to be out of place to leave Edo aside, thinking that it doesn't fall within the confine of the definition of the littoral state.
The NIMASA boss also stressed the fact that the human and infrastructural capacity development is key to the growth of the maritime industry in Nigeria. He noted that the agency's drive to develop the blue economy in partnership with littoral states in the country is aimed at achieving a diversified economy for the country.
We look into what we have as natural resources and natural endowment, which is shipping. And we conducted research. We discovered that shipping can provide more than threefold of the economy that the oil is providing. So in so doing, we decided to consult the littoral states to come up with their own comparative advantage areas and to form small committees that we will sit down together, develop a roadmap with deliverables, key performance indicators to see what we can achieve within the next 10 years in terms of the development of the maritime industry. In so doing, we will be able to take those littoral states along in forming these policies without necessarily saying that the agency belongs to federal government alone.
Governor Obaseki on his part explained that the Benin River Port project is critical and strategic to foster Nigeria's economy. He also noted that the state government is willing to partner with the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency to bring the project to reality.
So the Benin River Port is so critical and strategic to the economy of this country that it is something we will really plead that you help support immensely. So this port complements that advantage we have. The collaboration with you and helping us, into the blue economy is a sine qua non. It's just too critical for our survival and for the future of our country.
Governor Obaseki also applauded the NIMASA management for the Blue Economy Initiative, stating that the economy of Nigeria must be diversified.
We are where we are today because of the, because of the crude oil economy. Because of its extractive nature, we all just turned away from what created wealth for us before the advent of crude oil. So the next generations of Nigerians have a lot of work to do. And we have no problems whatsoever helping pioneer. And we're just not doing this for Edo, we're doing it for our country.
The governor also thanked the DG for his readiness to sponsor indigents of the state who are below 25 years of age to Greece on fully funded scholarship to study maritime-related courses. Still in the spirit of collaboration, the Director General of NIMASA, Dr. Bashir Jamoh, paid a courtesy visit to the Acting Director General of the Infrastructure Concession Regulatory Commission, ICRC, Mr. Joe Ohiani. The ICRC is an agency of the federal government of Nigeria responsible for the development and implementation of public-private partnership framework for the provision of infrastructure services. The duo discussed issues of common interest regarding the deployment of the NIMASA floating dock and offshore reception facilities being championed by the agency. Introducing the NIMASA Distress Response Call Lines for all maritime stakeholders, ship owners, seafarers, ship captains. Whatever your challenge or distress in the Nigerian maritime domain, please call 0803 0685 167, 0708 0005 956, 0700 0700 010. If you can't reach us on these lines, please call 0700 0700 020, 0700 0700 030. Also via VHF Radio Channel 16. Call and NIMASA will respond.
What is your timeline in terms of expectations as to how soon we can begin to see some progress?
Quite a lot of studies have been undertaken. We've concluded the environmental impact assessment, 2 seasons impact, and We have appointed a transaction advisor. We're expecting that before the end of this quarter, the transaction advisors will come up with their first report, and this will create the evidence, the data for the feasibility of the project, on the basis of which we will now raise the funding for this project from investors who are interested. And we believe that all the preliminary works, all the studies, all the design should be completed by the end of this year. And so that before the end of next year, we could conclude fundraising and then actual construction.
Why is maritime important in the grand scheme of things right now?
If you went and stood by the bypass in Benin today, this morning, the bypass moving traffic from Lagos to the east and other parts of Nigeria, you will count nothing less than 5,000 trucks a day, just moving goods from the Lagos ports to other parts of the country. Just imagine how much more efficient it will be if you're able to cut out 300-400 kilometers of road transport. And most of those goods are now moved by water, to the Benin River port. You've cut out about 3 or 5 hours of transportation costs. Look at the energy and the waste and the cost in terms of human lives. From the Benin River port, you're 1.5 hours into the eastern markets, you're 1.5 hours into the middle, the markets of North Central, and even to the west. So it's Edo, Benin City is a transport hub. And what we want to do is complement the land transportation with water transportation.
All right, in terms of manpower, and you mentioned that Edo has a maritime institute of technology. How is NIMASA partnering with you with regards to that?
We approached NIMASA, and NIMASA, as we speak, has gone into a memorandum of understanding to help support the faculty which we are creating at the Edo Polytechnic Essien, the Institute of Maritime Technology. Like I said, this is anticipating what we're trying to do with the Benin River Port. It takes a while to build capacity. So if we start training young men and women in all facets and segments of the blue economy, by the time they are graduating in 3-5 years, the port should be ready.
And then, of course, the announcement by the DG of NIMASA
to give some scholarships, right, to Edo indigenes to go and study marine sciences and marine-related subjects is quite encouraging, because what you will see is that they now serve as a beacon, an icon to their other peers that, look, these are profitable subjects for study, or these are subjects you study and you quickly get work when you finish.
Concerning the blue economy, NIMASA is moving aggressively to advocacy and, of course, policy, a national policy development as it relates to the blue economy.
Definitely. Like I said, from what I enunciated, you can see we are thinking in that direction. We see the opportunities. So we need to see how those opportunities are anchored on a policy and a policy direction. Because it's one thing to aspire, it's one thing to realize that you could do things yourself, but you also want to see how it all fits together, how the building blocks all come together. That's why that policy document on, a blue economy, on, maritime Nigeria is very, very key and critical.
On the final note, we'd just like to lend your voice to the argument that we must move away from this extractive behavior that has, should we say, has brought us to our knees somewhat.
We've talked about diversification of the Nigerian economy for more than 40 years. The time is out. It's no longer about talking about, the benefits of diversification. We have no choice anymore. It's about the urgency in executing diversification. So talk is over. It's now action time. What are the things we need to do? What are the transactions we need to do? What are the investments that need to be undertaken now, not tomorrow, so that we can truly begin to see the benefits of diversification. We don't have any more, we have very little and limited earnings coming from foreign exchange to fund imports. And we're already used to a certain standard of living and a style of living. So the fact is that we now must look at how to make those things that we currently import and also sell those things to the rest of the world. We're doing great in services like music, movies, but we could do much more in terms of manufactured products, in terms of food. We have no business importing food into this country. So we can't talk about diversification anymore. We just have to begin to diversify now. Certainly, we must look at certain things that give us a cost advantage, and maritime is one of them. It's easier, cheaper to move things bulk on water than on road or by air.
In terms of exemption, when you're trading strictly within Nigerian waters, you do not require to stick to the convention, but you must apply for a exemption certificate.
You're required to stick to the convention. However, the convention allows for vessels trading within the same kind of water, because the belief is that if you're trading within the same region, it's the same water, and so the species that live in the water are the same. So there's no risk of transfer of any foreign or invasive species. So for vessels that trade within similar environments, you're allowed to issue exemptions to those vessels.
Risk of pathogens, microorganisms, or
yes,
that's you're trading within the same environment.
Yes, that's the assumption. Yes.
In terms of enforcement, what has been your experience? What does NIMASA do to ensure compliance of these vessels?
In terms of enforcement and monitoring to ensure compliance, Nigeria has done a lot. It has put in a lot of strategies to ensure that the vessel calling at our ports are in compliance. One, they have actually carried out sensitization and awareness of the requirements of these conventions, and so many of these vessels are complying. Also, we have a synergy and collaboration with some of our agencies like the MPA to ensure that they are also there to provide reception facility for the sediments, and so that these sediments are not actually discharged into our marine environment. Also, we have surveyors and the marine environment officers who go on monitoring and enforcement to ensure that they have all the documents on board their vessels.
When you talk about reception facilities provided by the Nigerian Ports Authority, this reception facility, is that the facility that this ballast water is ejected into, or what do you mean by port reception facility?
Yeah, it's actually a reception facility for sediments, not for ballast water. It's for the sediments, because it is expected that the ballast water would have been exchanged at the 200 nautical miles from the nearest land, or 200 meters depth of water. So the sediment, when the vessel comes near the port or at the terminal, or even ship repair yards, the sediment, they're supposed to have a reception facility to receive the sediment. So that, because some of these organisms, they actually live in the sediment. And if the sediment is just dumped or discharged into the marine environment, it could actually be such organisms or pathogens could be invasive to our marine environment and be a risk to our indigenous species in the water.
Finally, in terms of the convention, what are your final words or take to stakeholders out there? What would be your take or advice to them on the Ballast Water Convention?
Yeah, it is important that ship owners comply with the provisions of this convention, because the risk that is associated with the non-compliance, especially now that you can see in our waters, water hyacinth. This is one of the problems of invasive species. It was not actually indigenous to our water, but recently it has invaded the water, and you can see that NIMASA actually spends so much money in clearing water hyacinth, which is a problem to
safe navigation
and even the fishing, also disturbing a disturbance to the fishing communities.
Thank you very much, Ms. Okorigba, for coming to this segment, and thank you very much, Ms. Adeiton. So viewers, that's as much as we can take today on the Ballast Water Convention. Stay tuned as NIMASA This Week, the voice of maritime, continues.
Welcome back. It's still NIMASA This Week, the voice of maritime, and we'd like for you to join us in this all too important conversation about the blue economy, about the Deep Blue project, and about all that NIMASA is doing to protect our shores and ensure that our marine environment is sustainable and to open up the space economically through our waters. Remember, the current administration here at NIMASA is focused on the performance tripod of maritime security, maritime safety, and shipping development. So let's continue this conversation with the DG of NIMASA on his social media handles, all displayed on your screen. You can take up the DG on Instagram, on Facebook, and on LinkedIn to carry on this conversation. You can ask him a variety of questions that may be bugging your mind with reference to the Nigerian maritime domain. Remember that the DG of NIMASA continues to write weekly, every Wednesday, through his column in The Guardian known as the Maritime Mandate. And this week, he focuses on the NIMASA e-library and on how it is helping to deliver on capacity building. Interestingly, the NIMASA e-library is open to all Nigerians. Absolutely. Did I hear you say, wow, are you surprised? You shouldn't be. The library is open to all Nigerians. All you need to do is indicate your interest. Visit our NIMASA official website, and then you'll get information as to how you too can access the NIMASA e-library and get to learn more about the maritime domain, and who knows, you could have a career in it. You can also carry on this conversation on all of our NIMASA official social media handles. They are all at NIMASA Official. Now, for those of you currently doing business in Nigeria's maritime space, or if you're nurturing the ambition of playing in the Nigerian maritime domain, remember, the NIMASA official website remains your first port of call as far as getting accurate and up-to-date information that you need to drive your business. Thank you for watching today's episode of NIMASA This Week, the Voice of Maritime, and that you can now appreciate how well endowed we are as a coastal state. As I leave you with this very popular salty saying, that one cannot stop the waves, but certainly one can learn how to surf. That should be a lesson for us all. Till I see you next time, I'm asking you yet again to stay on course. My name remains Ubong Essien. Bye-bye.